Don't be shy, don't stall, we got a funky vibe, yeah. Welcome all, it's a safe spot where the truth of mine. Share your thoughts, leave your worries behind. Woo! Defense West, that's where you belong. Click that like and groove along. Hit subscribe, let the love flow free. Join the fam where you're meant to be. Woo! Got mysteries, stories, feeling right. We dig deep, ain't no secrets to hide. No judgment here, just an open crew. We're all about justice and the honest view. Yeah, Defense West, that's where you belong. Click that like and groove along. Hit subscribe, let the love flow free. Join the fam where you're meant to be.
Morning. Howdy. G'day. How you doing? Top of the morning to ya. We're back. Yeah. Good morning, sweet cheeks. I saw you come in the back door. How are you? What's it? Oh, before I forget, that's what I put up there. Don't forget to do the poll. I can take that off now because I remembered. So yes, we've had a couple of IT issues, so to speak. I don't know if you remember, just before I left to go to see Mum, I kept getting booted off StreamYard for whatever reason, and I didn't think anything about it. Just turned it all off. Went to Mum's, came back, and I'd had a notice in the mail saying that they were doing some upgrades on the 3rd of September, and I just went, not going to affect me. I'm not going to be here, so all good. When I came home, she no one to play. So what's happened is my modem is probably a couple of years old, and they've done upgrades to the NBN line here, and they've increased the speeds phenomenally, and my 2-year-old modem couldn't cope with the speed. So every time I opened another window, it'd just shut down, and I'd have to reboot the whole system again. It was a pain in the ass. But now it's lovely and fast. It's great. I love it. And you just can't make this shit up, right? So new modem, obviously you've got to log into it, put in their standard passwords, and then you can go and change it yourself. I shit you not. This is the password I was allocated. Now, can you see the bottom one? You see the first word on that? Yes, you are reading that correctly. It's Quiff 92635CZ. Quiff. The fuck? I should have kept it, actually. Hey, really? So there you go. I did laugh as soon as I opened it up. I'm like, no. Yeah. It would only happen to me or Elizabeth. Never mind. And I've run out of ink in my printer. All right, I haven't run out of lead in my pencil. So I have been watching a lot of psychology videos and stuff. There's a particular creator I really love, who's Samantha Beningo, and her channel name is I Don't Belong Here. Amazing. And I listened to her throughout the Karen Reid trial, because she did a huge and comprehensive breakdown of all the main characters and why they behaved like they did, and how everything just fit together, and it just made a lot of sense. And so she was focusing on the Adelson trial. And one of the things in the back of my mind has always been that I think Wendi is involved. And so I watched her. She put out a video about 3 days ago and did a breakdown of why she thinks Wendi is guilty. So then I uploaded the transcripts of both the trials that she was in. So she testified in Charlie's trial and she testified in Donna's trial. I uploaded them to my database and did an analysis and a comparison between the two and asked them to suggest anything that might be consciousness of guilt. So we've got a few to go through. And yeah, I think I'm on the right track. I do believe, these have given me concrete reasons to clarify or to reinforce what I'd already thought of. So let's see if that, I better upload it. Idiot. I downloaded it and then didn't upload it. So Samantha comes up with the top 10 reasons why she believes Wendi Adelson absolutely 100% knew. Come on, don't do that to me. You saved it in the wrong format. Sometimes it does that. Why? Oh, it wasn't there. Yes, it saves it in my editing software under Canva, and it won't open in StreamYard, which is a pain in the ass. That one. Save it. Thank you. Right. Yep. All right. That'll be a couple of minutes before it re-uploads again. And hopefully it saves it in the right format this time. Otherwise, I'll just play it off there. Hello, Christine. How you going? Good morning. I'll just have to screen share it if it doesn't upload the right way. Don't forget, yes, as I said, have a look at the poll. Where is it? How many votes have we had? 6 votes. 100% of people say that she absolutely knew. I agree. 3 minutes that's going to take. Right. So, what have you guys been up to? What's the weather like over there, Teresa? Are you forecast for rain? Are you having a nice sunny spell? You finished your work outside? What's the go? What's happening? Oh, and I actually need to upload that too. The mushroom murder trial, Erin Patterson. They are putting out. Oh, surprise! Hello. Oh, it's so good to see you. Hang on. You know, I gotta do the dance. Hang on. Where is it? There it is.
Out to the person that just gave us a super chat. Humanity is just the best. Love you all the different.
Thank you. How are you, sweetness? How's medicine? I hope everything's going well over there for you. I have been thinking about you. Oh, you poor bugger. You poor bugger. You work way too hard. I've told you that before. But thank you. It's great to see you. You don't have to do that. I actually just renewed my plan, and the modem was like complimentary with it, so it should be. And normally I would use my mobile data, but because I'd been up with Mum for the week and she doesn't have internet at all, it's jack shit. I couldn't even check my emails. It's that bad. I used up a lot of my data there because I didn't have a great deal of it because I've got unlimited on my Wi-Fi. Why would I have additional? So yeah, that was my thinking. So the last couple of days I've been conserving. What do we do before Wi-Fi? I have no idea. Oh, you're having great weather, are you? Awesome. You got a lot to do outside. I wish could get out in the garden. That's something I really, really miss. I really miss it. Oh, you're losing subscribers? Do you know why, Christine? What's going on? How many subscribers have you lost? That's not good. Oh, you're evil. You come across with that nice innocent face, but you're not. You're evil. Oh dear. Do you know why they're going? What's going on? I actually haven't had I haven't seen Simi or Jenny G or Palola's mum or Anna. Nobody. All right, save it properly, please. Save it properly, please. Save it properly, please. Please. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, proof's in the pudding. Let's have a look. Videos. I hate that when you put all this bloody work into it. Yes. Oops. Fuck. Okay, now I can upload it. Share video file. There it is. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah, Danny was not very nice. I mean, I saw his dead page. All the other pictures.
Oh
she
my
looks pretty nice,
God.
but that one.
Stop. All right. So the first, I don't really like that layout. Hang on. Let's that's better. Maybe. All right. So the first reason you're blocked from her channel. Are you shitting me? You're blocked from Christine's channel. Well, that might be a reason why you're losing lots of subscribers, Christine. Who else have you got as mods? Because mods are the only ones that can block people other than you. And they might be doing it on purpose. I'm just saying. No one else can do that if you don't want them to. Oh, I would double check that, sweetheart, because it sounds like you are. She is. All right. Save. Why won't it? That's weird. I don't know what's going on. It's not moving anything. What the fuck? Okay. Breathe, Jody. Breathe. All right. Now, the first reason that Sam believes that she is guilty is because the night before Dan was murdered, she changed her profile picture on Facebook to one that was phenomenal. Beautiful picture of her in beautifully dressed, knowing full well that that picture would be all through social media the next day.
Okay, so it's pretty contentious between the two of them.
Yeah, Danny was not very nice. I mean, I'm sorry he's dead. No one deserves this. But I don't know if you guys had a chance to read the court pleadings he filed, but they're almost insane.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
you got to look at those. I mean, they are. It seems like an insane person.
Okay.
Like this thick, and he tries to get Wendi disbarred, and he calls her name. I mean, it's the rankings of a lunatic, basically. But every time she got one of these, she would knock down for like 2 weeks.
Now this is all
Legal
the
system that
stuff.
she prints.
This is all reported from Wendi to her boyfriend Jeff, who's being interviewed by the police now, and he's explaining how she would react and how anxious she would get whenever he would file a motion or, you know, make claims and all sorts of stuff. Because in the trial, Donna's trial, the defense team tried to make out that it wasn't a contentious divorce, but it actually was. What was brought up in the Donna's trial was snippets of bits that were absolutely twisted and misconstrued in the pleadings that made it look like Dan was a bad guy and asking and being unreasonable. And Wendi has always portrayed this damsel in distress, you know, the victim, poor me, you know, oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't know about that, you know. Yet she was valedictorian of her class. She's got a master's. She's not silly. She ain't silly at all. She's just better at it than the rest of them.
Stress, and he was punishing her very effectively. So, yes, certainly there's a motive for someone that wants to. So Wendi didn't want to be in Tallahassee. I mean, she wanted to live in South Florida.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Wendi Adelson changing her Facebook profile picture the night before Dan Markel's murder.
Thursday, she changes her Facebook picture. I'm sure you've seen the picture of her in the beautiful purple dress. It's all over the media. And that was bizarre to me because that's a Victoria's Secret dress. It's not a dress you hang out at your parents. You might wear it to a club if you're an undergrad. You might wear it to bed. You don't hang out at your parents' house wearing that dress. And to me, it was.
Was this a dress that you gave her?
No. But you saw the picture. It's fairly scandalous.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's scandalous.
Scandalous. She's a pretty girl. You'll find nothing where she looks even close to how she looks in that picture. She looks gorgeous in that picture.
On Facebook?
Yeah. And it was suspicious to me after the fact that picture was changed 12 hours before Danny shot it, and that's a picture that was distributed to the media. She's very concerned with her appearance and how she looks. So I know that sounds crazy. That's very healthy to think it was, but I thought this is so strange. She changed her Facebook picture twice in 2 years, and the night before Danny shot, and she's going to be all over the media. She looks like a Victoria's Secret model, you know?
Okay.
So, but I was bothered enough by that picture.
What was the prior picture?
Something that looks more like a 35-year-old woman with 2 kids would have on her Facebook page.
Okay.
All the other pictures, and she looks pretty enough, but that one she looks amazing in that picture. She's not even that pretty wrong. That picture, her dad photoshops that stuff. He does that kind of thing. So it was a picture produced for her by her father.
Something like 9 or 10.
Definitely before 10 or by 10.
Yes, that's my best memory.
All right, where did you go after the TV? What was the next place you went after the TV repairman left?
So I was home, I think, for a couple of hours first. I was doing a little bit of work. I was talking to some friends. I think I ate breakfast. And then I left probably close to noon or a little bit after noon. I was meeting, but there was yellow.
Now, this is number 9. So, she couldn't help herself. She, the morning of the murder, she had to go and do a drive-by. Had to. And it was blocked off. It was cordoned off with police tape. And she had 2 different stories, basically. What did she say? One of them, she said that she turned into the road and then had to stop and go back. And I think the next trial, she said that she didn't actually turn in, that the tape was sort of right at the end of the road. And so she did a 3-point turn and went back down from where she came. But she didn't call Dan, given that it was his street that was cordoned off. She didn't call to see how her kids were. Can't find where it is now. Yes, but she's got great recall on a lot of things, and then she's very vague on other things. So this is her doing the drive-by the next morning.
Low tape up. And so when I tried to turn, I couldn't turn. So I made a 3-point turn and kept going on Centerville.
And so you encountered a police roadblock at that location?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't go any further because there was a police car and some yellow tape, right?
Right.
And that was, you were able to see that from the intersection there, or you
I'll have a
actually
look
turned onto
when I'm
Trescott?
finished.
I tried to
this thing.
turn and then I couldn't go through. So I turned around and kept going.
Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
So this is
In
now
her
Charlie's.
emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks
Testimony?
about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
You see that?
No.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you know what was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay. Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
That would have been a no.
How far down Trescott did you
No.
proceed before you turned around?
Just until the tape.
Okay.
So now this is Donna's trial.
In the first
All right. This is Charlie on the phone to his mother talking about Wendi because someone saw her there.
When I first heard that it was like, and everything that caused in the first trial, it was like after, so I said, okay, I was like, you're there. Like, why would you even go there? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Makes no difference. And then I found out that she really was in that car. Because when I first heard it, I thought, oh my God, this guy's full of shit. Like, this is right now, and beat her, like, pull away fastly, speed away. Like, she's right here there. That's crazy. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And someone told me, no, she really was. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, you were like, they think he's involved because she was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, why would she be there?
That's because then they said to her, you saw that. Why didn't you call the preschool to see how the children were? Why didn't you see how Danny was? Well, why would she think there's a problem? She thought it was a tree down. They just closed off a whole bunch of the street. She really didn't think there was anything. She thought that her
Police
children were in
take
danger
for a tree down.
preschool.
They said all fire rescue was gone, the paramedics were gone, and the road was blocked and had the only thing. Well,
Yeah, that was it.
well, that would make perfect sense. But Jesus Christ, I mean, it's not like she showed up 6 hours later. It's not like she showed up an hour before, an hour after she shows up. Because as Kaplan said, she couldn't help herself.
She couldn't help herself.
Kaplan said she couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
You tell her
And
8.
Donna says,
How
yes,
the
she couldn't.
Adelsons behave.
Oh, how the Adelsons behaved after the murder. And I deliberately put
Behaved in the days after Dan Markel's death.
After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
It was either that afternoon
she's
or the next day.
for sure.
But, and she called me and said, I just want you to know, if the police come around, don't.
I really feel sorry for Rob. I really do. He is lovely. He's very lucky that he made the decision to nick off at a young age. And I think it tortures him still because his mother is such a controlling narcissist. Like, she's just the three of them, like Wendi, Charlie, and Donna, absolutely just feed off one another. It's toxic. It's a toxic codependency. It's ridiculous. But it seems to me that Wendi is more than happy to just go, oh, no, I don't know anything, and wipe her hands of it. And she played the game beautifully. She distanced herself when she needed to, had nothing to do with like, had no conversations with Charlie or Donna after the incident. But all these little things combined tell me that she has a consciousness of guilt. Oh, my headphones are... Yeah, I just think Rob's lovely.
Talk to him.
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law
Yeah, I
enforcement?
said I already did.
What did she say to that?
She said, oh, well, you don't know anything anyway.
Now, obviously, we can't hold Wendi as responsible for all of the things that her parents...
You don't suspect anything suspicious about her mom?
Not so much, no.
But her dad, you're feeling some vibes because of him not wanting to look you in the eye yesterday.
And then today not wanting to look me at all. No.
Did he acknowledge you at all today?
No.
You don't need to be a psychologist to figure this one out. Why do you think it would be that Harvey Adelson would be the one to give it away?
He didn't, not at all. And I'll tell you that Maya, on some level, suspects that Wendy's family might be involved. Alex is really trying not to think that way.
But I was friendly with her parents. Like, I talked to them because he's a dentist. His
Well,
son is a dentist. Like, I tried to be very friendly. I tried to be engaging and talking with them. I didn't want them to feel, it was hard enough that they came. But at the memorial, they would talk to me. I don't know if they were mad at me. I don't know. Obviously, Wendy's not, because she asked if I was coming. But her parents...
I don't know how much of it is them. I mean, they know that everyone's first thought is going to be Wendi or her family, right? So it does put them in a little bit of a, I'm sure, defensive situation. But yeah, I would not be surprised if that's how this all turns out, laid out there. I think they're mean. I think to do some of the stuff that they did during this divorce with Danny, just not reasonable, and just you hate. I mean,
these are friends of
somebody would ever actually, I'm assuming somebody was probably hired to kill him. You'd hate to think that somebody would do that over really anything, but somebody did. So. It just makes more sense to me.
That's the only thing I'm reading that into. I was like, either her,
the father in particular.
Right, the father in particular. He just set off like a, not bad.
At the memorial.
Only at the memorial, just because he wouldn't look at me and didn't.
Yeah, I actually kind of tried to.
I tried to. I was literally, not
I'm sure
very
he was
far.
uncomfortable, so
Figured it out yet? Harvey's the one who actually feels guilty about having Dan Markell murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Wendi Adelson having $1 million offer in South Florida. Now, there is no
20 hours with Danny over a 9-month
Right,
period
so
of various children's functions.
That is, she got a job offer down in South Florida, and they were offering her $1 million a year, apparently, to work down there. And that really, really factored into it because the Adelsons were planning on giving that $1 million incentive to Dan to move along and agree with the relocation stuff. And when they interviewed Charlie, he said that, he was more than happy to put up his third of that $1 million because he knew that she'd been offered this job and that she would be able to pay it back. So that was the pretext, and that was why it was so important to Donna that she relocate back down to South Florida, as well as bringing the boys with her, but that was a huge factor. This is Jeff Lacoste.
And then Wendi feared him.
It's on various children's functions.
Well, Wendi was afraid of him. Wendi would almost have a panic attack in front of Danny, which always made me...
Oh, shit, did I say that
Wendy's
again?
pretty closed off. She doesn't disclose information easily. I wouldn't have used to beat her ass. I mean, I didn't know, but it seemed out of proportion for a guy who's just kind of a general dickhead. It didn't make sense. She would get heart palpitations and stuff. So every time the kids had to go sing at sitting on the Capitol steps for some function, I would go to kind of be an interference, basically.
And we learned that
Wendi for the Pearl Harbor style separation and her Visigoth-like sacking of the marital.
Pearl Harbor style.
Describing Wendi as a pathological liar and a mentally ill narcissistic sociopath.
Is exposed. You cannot overstate how important money is to the Adelsons and Wendi was given $1 million offer to join a firm in Miami.
During the divorce, from your conversations with Donna, was she fixated on Wendi taking this job with a guy named Gary Cohen in Miami?
Yes, that was a common discussion point.
Okay. Did she seem like it was just something that she kind of thought would be a good idea, or something that she seemed to have a real obsession with?
It came up a lot in my discussions with her about this job with Gary, where she'd be making $1 million a year and to be a partner. And it was something that was brought up a lot, that she'd be able to take care of her kids in a way that she couldn't up in Tallahassee. And it was, it was probably the one thing that she mentioned to me. The only time I heard any anger after the murder had occurred was that I asked, is Wendi going to go work for Gary now? And she told me that.
And did the job end up not working out?
As far as I know, it didn't.
Okay.
And that was all happening. Everyone's going to think Donna Adelson is the greatest, most loving Jewish mom in the whole world. Everyone's going to think Charlie's this successful, hotshot dentist, periodontist who's got Ferraris and, all these girlfriends. No way he was going to kill Dan Markel. Besides, it'll never come back on us. We're here in Miami. We both have alibis. They'll never be able to tie us to this. At least get 6 degrees of separation, right? He didn't even get 1 degree. He's got his girlfriend's baby daddy doing the hit. That's narcissism. It's the delusion of thinking that you are untouchable. But they're all 3 in on that delusion, not just Charlie. And that's the point. And remember, cannot overstate how important money is to the Adelsons. It's the backbone of everything they do. And everything is superficial. Everything is about the show.
Yep.
Everything is about the dance. And they need that exterior to be able to protect them, right? That exterior is what they think keeps them from ever getting caught. The money is critical in all of that. So Charlie has no problem dishing out $150,000 to Katie to kill Dan Markel because they all believe that Wendi has $1 million offer to join some law firm in South Florida. So they're thinking, if we can get Wendi down here, she'll cash in and who cares about $100,000 because she'll have plenty of money. She'll pay me back. And we hear that from Charlie. It's Charlie that planted the seed in my mind.
Because Charlie
this
can't
$1
keep his
million
mouth shut.
offer was so significant that it was pestering Donna, was keeping her up at night. It wasn't that Dan Markel was just torturing Wendi psychologically that was driving Donna to stay up at night writing these crazy suggestions and emails and coming up with all this crap to try to get Dan to let her relocate. It was the money. It was $1 million offer. And Charlie is the one that exposes that because he can't keep his mouth shut.
But the offer that she bragged about was $1 million offer, isn't that right? That she ran her mouth about.
I was never there when she spoke to me.
They're always very fancy.
The offer was that $1 million was going to be paid, and I was going to pay a third of $1 million.
And weren't you going to cover Wendy's third as well?
No, not at all. I was going to cover my third.
Didn't your lawyer say in opening statement that you were going to cover the whole thing for Wendy's third?
No, I was sitting here. I heard what he said. Charlie was going to pay a third of $1 million.
All right. And so the offer was $1 million offer, and that's what you told Katie, along with the fact that you were going to cover the third.
I was telling her that I was going to pay a third of $1 million, yeah. And then one day, if my sister was able to, she was going to pay me back.
To be absolutely clear about what I am saying here, Charlie claims that he was extorted because Katie McBanoa overheard him talking about the $1 million offer that the family was going to make to Dan Markel. And everyone knew Charlie kept stacks of stapled cash in his house in his safe. So what he is explaining here to the prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman, is that McBanoa knew about that offer to Dan Markel. And that's what prompted the extortion plan that Katie's associates, friends, babies, daddies, whatever, ultimately went and ran with and took it upon themselves to murder Dan Markel. And because the money didn't exchange hands until after the murder, it's called extortion in Charlie's book, which is the reason why I think Charlie has convinced himself he was extorted rather than hiring a hitman. Wendy's suggesting other suspects.
So
I was thinking about something else. He told me that he comes, we have week on, week off on Wednesdays to do an overnight.
Right.
This is the day of the murder. And this is Wendi in the police station being told. Now, in Donna's trial, she said that the police came to the restaurant where she was having lunch with her friends, and they didn't say anything to her about why they were there. They just said to her that her children were with law enforcement. And then she was told about what happened to Dan in the car on the way to the police station. And then you see this.
And he told me that he might have some work up in New York and he might not be back in time for the Wednesday overnight. So there's no way that he did this because he had all kinds of plans like for next week.
So you're saying he would not hurt himself?
No.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't him.
Okay. He has no reason to hurt himself or anything like that?
No, I mean, I can see him being really sad when we first got divorced.
Right.
But now he's got Amy and he loves those boys.
Okay.
And things were really good for him. There's no way he did this to himself.
When I walked into Wendy's yesterday and I'm assessing the situation, and Janine was there, and they were trying to, they like went into a private conversation, and I'm sitting down, and then like, well, does Amy, we have to talk to Amy, and I said, I talked to Amy, and I said, does she know? They said, yeah, she knows. I'm like, no, not what happened. Does she know? As if, does she know where the investigators are looking? Was the implication. And I said, what do you mean? And the next question was Wendy redirected, and she said, has she talked to her husband? And so she started down this path with Janine there of making me wonder, or wanting to make me wonder if Amy's husband was involved.
No, and it's because of that that we find out Wendy is trying to point the detectives and actually point friends in the direction of anybody else but her family being involved, as though she's trying to act like, number one, she doesn't know who did it. Number two, it isn't her family. And number three, it must be all these other people, even though when you stop and think about it, their motives don't make any actual sense.
I was in the room with her. I don't know how she acted or whatever, but it was implausible that I did this. I don't know. She told me I tried to protect you from the police. I want to know where your house was. I want to know this. I said, I don't need protecting. How come none of your friends called me or texted me? Well, they told me later that she seemed to be concerned that I actually did this.
Why would you do it?
I can find out. Why would I do it?
Well, what did she say?
Crime of passion. We're breaking up and Jeff's upset. Why would I go kill Danny because I'm upset with Wendy? And by the way, as soon as I heard he's dead, I said, that's it for her. She's back in Miami. That's it. I know. It's the dumbest thing ever. That's what I have to stick with. I work at the CI camp. By the way, I was in the Air Force. Last time I fired a gun was in M16 in basic training, and I missed the target mostly, and I got shot. So she said that to you guys. I know you can't tell me that. But she was telling people in her social circle, apparently, that they shouldn't contact me, I guess. That, this was really a possibility. And that just seems deeply suspicious to me. A lot of these people aren't really close friends with me, but I found out about this crime third hand. And that just struck me as incredibly strange and suspicious.
Number 5, Wendy's cruelty.
I haven't seen Charlie in a really long time, but I know that she was relying heavily on Charlie, and if she was telling anyone about what happened or what she felt happened, it would have been Charlie.
Okay.
And that he was very protective of her. Danny felt like he was okay with Charlie at the beginning, and then over time he felt like he wasn't anymore. And I think the same thing. He felt like he was fine with her parents, and then all of a sudden they flipped on him. He was very confused about it. And I think over time when he was hearing some of the things that she had passed along to colleagues, who then started looking at him funny, he realized that her family members may be thinking the same things. And I don't know exactly what she was telling them, but he was painted as not a nice person. So it became very, he said, she said. She became very happy to travel, and she'd be gone for just periods at a time and leave the boys. I don't know who she left them, but if her parents came up for what, but she would just leave. And it really bothered him too, because when she did that, sometimes he wouldn't get the boys, or it was like a day off, and so she's like, oh, well, they'll just stay with this person this time. And so there were little takes where she kept trying to cut into his time schedule. But they had a little bit of a groove for a while, where it seemed like it was going okay. And then just in the last few months, it has felt like a renewed flurry of legal activity. And she seemed happy and excited about the social worker boyfriend. And Dan thought maybe she would calm down and be happy and start her own path. He had recently gone to visit her. So after we went to dinner, he was leaving to go visit her. And they had this pattern where they switch off every couple of weeks. So he would go up, and she was scheduled to come down and meet the boys in person for the first time, which recently just happened. So he was all excited about that. And she had started Skyping with the boys. My understanding was that Wendy had found out that she was Skyping with the boys and was furious about it. And this is very recently. Amy had started coming more into the boys' lives, and I don't think she was handling it well from whatever.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, was the defendant, your mother, very angry at Dan Markel?
Before he died?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you hated him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD? One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
Did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
And this was said in an email on February 26th of 2013, correct?
It was.
Approximately 17 months before the murder?
Yes.
And did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
And do you agree that email was sent approximately 15 months before Mr. Markell was murdered?
It was in April of 2013.
You're 16 days apart. Then you go on a date on the 14th. She makes a comment about her brother was looking to killing Danny the previous summer, which would have been summer of 2013. She didn't specify a month. You didn't question her any more about that.
I was too focused on this stuff. Yeah, I didn't.
No, when she's making this statement on the you're saying the Monday.
Yeah.
Which would be the 14th. Yeah. When she makes the statement that Charlie had looked into having someone do this for 15, it was going to cost. Hey, how much does it cost to kill this guy? And the answer that Charlie gets is $15,000. He shares that with his sister.
Yes.
Okay. And then she says that to you, and that was in the context preceding that conversation.
Have a look at this.
What do you want to do?
So, I took these clips from Sam's presentation and cut them down. But have a look at the watermark in the top left-hand corner where she got it from. Let me take my... So she's got it from True Crime Metrics. So you're getting lots of advertising. TCM. I did laugh when I saw that.
You don't like it here. I'm talking in your...
Yeah, that was part of the constant conversation about Danny is awful Tallahassee, so that's all she ever said.
And I can't do anything. I'm stuck here because, well, I guess you got denied.
That just goes to show you how small this little niche is. All right?
I'm relocating with kids.
And Samantha is in Connecticut. In fact, she probably knows Bry. She must. I was in her chat. She had a live on last night, 10 o'clock on Wednesday night, and I was in her chat this morning. So, and how's this? All right, freaky. So she's in Connecticut, and she's the psychologist, okay? And I'm in chat, and I basically just sort of made myself known, saying, you know, can you check your emails? You know, Jodie from Melbourne. And this other chick popped up in chat, and her name was Bron. And she said, oh, hi, Jodie, I'm in Melbourne too. And I'm like, oh, cool. And the chat just went on, and so we were having a bit of a chat. And I'm like, so where are you? What part of Melbourne are you from? And she goes, oh, eastern suburbs. I'm like, oh, cool, me too. I'm in this postcode. And she went, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm just off Hawthorne Road in Forest Hill. And she goes, you got to be shitting me. I'm like, why? She goes, I'm off Hawthorne Road. I'm Blackburn. So literally she's 2 blocks up from me. We could walk to each other's house. And she's on the same chat of an American psychiatrist as me. So she's coming for coffee tomorrow. I want to know how to get in touch with her. I can't find where to do it. She's not on X. She's not on YouTube. Damn it.
And she's saying, I'm stuck here unless something happens to Danny. That's what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Now, those of us that have been following this case at all, we know that the behavior of Donna Adelson was often cruel and unusual. We know, for example, that she was ready to parade her grandchildren around in Nazi uniforms to try to get Dan Markell so embarrassed that he didn't want anything to do with his children, so he would allow Wendi to relocate to South Florida. The truth is in our face. There's no world where Wendi Adelson doesn't know that Dan Markell is going to be murdered if her family is responsible for it.
But she was pretty unreasonable about a lot of stuff, and frankly vindictive and mean. You know, she just did not, you know, he would kind of agree. He constantly tried to kind of keep things civil. And he never, even with us, he shared details, and it wasn't ever really like mean to her. It was like he was upset at what she did, but there's a difference. Like I went to New York, and either she called him or he called her when he got off the plane and said, don't want to do this anymore.
She called him, I think, and said, I want a divorce, and he tried to get on a plane to come back.
And by the time he got there,
she waited till he was out of town?
Yes.
You said that their plan was for Wendi to call Dan Markel as he was getting on stage, or right before he got on stage, to give a speech at a conference?
That's what I was told.
Okay. And what was Donna's demeanor when she was describing this plan to you about how she was able to set up this place for Wendi to live in, everything was ready for her, and then this is how she gave Dan the news?
She sounded pleased to me.
Came back very quickly. In other words, it had been planned, because he got back and the house was cleaned out. The bank accounts were, I don't know if they're all the way empty, but they were certainly half
She had moved a bunch of money. I don't know, he had separate like investments and money,
right.
and she had.
She would tell him where the kids were for it took 2 weeks, I think, for her to even agree to meet him somewhere with the kids. It was very strange.
She would not tell.
Right, we remember going this is certainly not a threatening personality. He's not a dominant She's treating him like that's like what a battered person, like a battered spouse would do, and she was just very unreasonable about it. And she would put him on Skype when she did Skype. She put him on Skype eating bacon. Knowing
you
that.
Like it was totally to piss Baby off.
Her parents. Long story, very short. She did this one. She said, I should introduce you guys, because we decided we're probably not going to be able to continue this, but it's in this limbo because of the crime. And I said, hey, you should introduce us sometime. And she sent her an email to introduce us, but we aren't even dating. I didn't want to bother Wendi with that when she's dealing with her murder.
Right.
And she texted me scathing texts, like, I never want to talk to you again, and that was it. Shortly thereafter that conversation, this woman said, I'm not interested in seeing you any longer.
Okay.
So, which I thought was pretty aggressive. When I texted Wendi, I said, hey, put me through a lot of shit. Give me a break here to stay out of this, please. And she did. Very aggressive.
I know we don't hear a whole lot of Wendy's side of anything. It was very difficult to. We saw her very shortly after that and just told her to give her our condolences. I'm sorry this happened, but it's very difficult to be friends with both of them. And Danny was the one we always see at school, but that same week that happened, we said, well, what can we do? And again, he said, well, I have no place to go for Shabbos dinner, and so we invited him over.
And then that's how it happened.
From there, and it kind of gradually became closer and closer.
You heard of he truly, when he would come, he would bring stuff. He never came empty-handed. With his boys, he doted on them. He slept with them. Like, he had family bed with his boys. So
he was overboard in some of that.
The legal situation was getting to another point where it was blowing up.
He somehow found out that she withheld financial disclosure.
Yes.
And was going to use that?
Yes.
For what purpose?
It was to discredit her and have things adjusted, I believe, including getting back his heirloom.
Okay, he told you this?
Yes.
Okay, and he told you the figure of...
Apparently she missed $500,000 in her financial statement for
$1 million.
Danny told you that directly?
Yes.
And I changed my older son's middle name.
And you changed their last name from Markel
to mine.
Now, Wendi claims, of course, that she did it for the boys' safety because when she was enrolling them in school after Dan Markel's death, using the name Adelson was safer than using the name Markel. Now, for those of us that have been tracking this case closely and have heard about the Adelsons for 1,000 years, it seems absolutely implausible to believe that using Markel would have been less safe than using the name Adelson, given the notoriety of the Adelsons. But okay, let's give Wendi the benefit of the doubt. And let's just say this all happens, before the name Adelson blows up into all of our consciousness. That always seemed a little sus to me. In particular, because Wendi also changes the middle Hebrew name of one of her sons. Now, that doesn't seem like it would have anything to do with safety. That seems like a way to try to literally erase Dan Markel's existence, soup to nuts. Now, we also hear Donna trying to defend that she never actually forbid Dan Markel's parents from seeing the boys, but then we hear something completely different, even just days after Dan Markel is murdered.
Ruth was trying to talk to Donna Adelson, Wendy's mom, and saying, I really like to see the boys. And Donna just kept walking away.
Who was saying that?
Ruth.
Right.
Said to Wendy's mom, Donna. Today at the service. I'd really like to see the boys. And Donna kept walking away with the boys. And Ruth turned to me and she said, I hope what I just saw didn't actually happen.
But it was during Donna Adelson's trial that ultimately tipped the scales for me.
This is the, it looks like an electronic invitation for my dad's 70th birthday.
An Evite, right?
Did you pick up on
Who sent the invitation to you?
Well, it looks like it's through the postmark.
I mean, who sent the party invitations out?
I don't remember if I helped with the Evite or if my mom did it. So I don't know if I sent it to myself or if it's from my mom.
Would you have sent it to yourself?
I'm a little better with tech stuff than my parents, so I might have helped them put together an Evite.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Who does it say is the host of the party?
Oh, my mom's the host. You asked who sent the email, and I didn't remember. But my mom is the host of the party for my
Okay.
dad.
And to whom is the party invitation sent?
It's sent to me and my 2 children.
Mm-hmm. And the boys were labeled as
And
innocent.
this was sent on July 3rd, 2014, before the murder, correct?
Yes.
And then back up just a
Good job.
Here, this email, do you recognize this one? Are you able to read it okay on your screen?
I can read it okay.
All right, who sent this?
Let me have a look, see what we've got. Oh, all right. We've had 9 votes and it's 100%. Everyone knew. You can jump on up if you want to come up and say hi. I've emailed all of you the stream link.
Email.
This is from. It says my mom, but it says Harvey Adelson. So again, I don't know which parent it's from.
Okay. If it was from Harvey Adelson, would he say Lincoln is going to be attending Shabbat with his grandpa, Harvey Adelson?
I mean, it seems more likely somebody else would have written with his grandpa, but I don't know. I kind of write those things sometimes. Like Lincoln will attend something with his mom and say my name. I know it's awkward to say it in the third person, but I don't think it's impossible.
Okay. But this reference to Lincoln Adelson did happen prior to the legal name change, correct?
Yes. No. I from the beginning, I was scared when I put them in school, and so I didn't legally change their name until a year after. But I was socially using my name for them.
Wendi had already started using the name Adelson for the boys right before the death of Dan Markel. Number 3.
Oh, yes. This is where it's the week of summer and he wants to take her away for a week and she wants to stay in Tallahassee.
Insisting that she be in Tallahassee on the exact day that Dan Markel is murdered.
I was leaving for Tennessee on Friday. And she said, I want to spend that Monday through Thursday with you. I said, great. What, you want to go to St. Augustine? She loves the beach. She hates Tallahassee. This, again, is just very strange and suspicious to me. Wendi Adelson tells me, what I want to do is a staycation. I want to stay home in Tallahassee. I said, you want to stay in Tallahassee the hottest week of the year? She said, we'll go to Tom Brown Park, we'll do this. I said, you hate it here. I'm offering to take you away. Why wouldn't you? It's just really strange at the time. I remember saying to my friends, like, Wendi wants people ask. I said, what said she wants to do? Stay in Tallahassee. Like, she leaves town. I'm sure you know, every chance she gets, she leaves town. Why would she want to stay? I said, I don't know. I have no idea.
Do now.
Finally managed to convince her to do a trip to St. Augustine, but we had to schedule it so that we were back basically by the time of the shooting. So that was just strange. It was peculiar at the time.
Wonder why I deliberately put these spaces in, because I'm crap at finding the right spots.
She finds what's going on. It's just really, really strange.
Number 2, Wendy's suspiciousness.
Yeah. How's this?
Does she still have the same phone number?
She switched her phone 3 or 4 days after the shooting because she thought you guys had bugged it.
She thought the coppers had bugged her phone.
Do you have the new number?
But kept the
I think
same
it's the same
number.
number. She has a different phone. She swapped a different
handset.
So because you don't need to bug on a phone physically.
Right.
I mean, it's funny.
Why would she be concerned about people bugging her phone, or police bugging her phone? I guess is what she's specifically concerned about.
She's not concerned about that. She don't know.
Did you ask why?
No, I knew I immediately thought she did this, and so she told me 50 times, Chad, I had nothing to do with this. And I was just, let it be silent, sorry. I just let it be silent, because I didn't want to go there, I didn't want to play my hand. I never said anything to her. I just wanted to listen. I was hoping she might give me something interesting, and I would come tell you guys. Because she's erratic enough, I thought she might say something stupid. She must have said 50 times, I had nothing to do with this. And you saw her statement in the press. She's worried for the safety of her and her children. No one's suggesting a serial killer looking for Jewish warriors, you know? I mean, it's just pretty targeted, so.
Yeah, you think,
that?
Well, she's concerned for her children's safety.
I'll play that again.
Wendi plays the victim so well. To me, it looked like classic Wendi. Everybody else felt bad for her. I thought, holy crap.
Did you hear what he said about? Hang on, I'll go back. He's messaging me. So, he's describing Wendi.
I was just, let it be silent, sorry. I just let it be silent, because I didn't want to go there, I didn't want to play my hand. I never said anything to her. I just wanted to listen. I was hoping she might give me something interesting, and I would come tell you guys. Because she's erratic enough, I thought she might say something
erratic
stupid.
like that?
She must have said 50 times, I had nothing to do with this. And you saw her statement in the press. She's worried for the safety of her and her children. No one's suggesting a serial killer looking for Jewish warriors, you know?
No one's suggesting a serial killer looking for Jewish lawyers.
I mean, this was pretty targeted. So.
Yeah, you think, she's concerned for her children's safety.
Wendi plays the victim so well. To me, it looked like classic Wendi. Everybody else felt bad for her. I thought, holy crap, she did this.
Isom, in your law enforcement interview, that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect.
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than a divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview.
I've got
being
something
a suspect.
that
Didn't you?
I did, yes.
Make no mistake. That is.
Hang on. There's one. Uh-huh. And I keep forgetting to do these. What about the Chihuahua? You lie. Sorry. I
And
love the
exterior.
eyes. No. It's good, isn't it?
That is not who she really is. And the number one reason that I am absolutely certain Wendi Adelson knew about the death of Dan Markel is because of Charlie Adelson's narcissism.
She called me.
She called you?
Called me and described it. Yeah.
When was this episode? Do you remember?
I can find out for you, but I don't remember. It was not too long after the crime. It was the celebration dinner.
And what was the celebration for?
Danny was gone. That's how Charlie talks about Danny.
But I mean, you don't hear that firsthand. She tells
me that. She says we went out for what Charlie called a celebration dinner.
Hello.
Because Danny's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Come home, did you?
But they had a celebration dinner, and what caused her?
It sounds like something out of a movie, right? Someone does something they wish they hadn't, someone makes a remark, they vomit. Okay. That's what it sounded like. But she puked on the table.
How did Lacoste know about the celebration dinner?
That we went out to dinner, she got sick, so she may have told someone that she threw up.
And then what, he just added the part about you referring to it as a celebration?
I never referred to it as a celebration dinner. I picked my sister up. I said, where do you want to go to eat? She said she wanted pizza or sushi. I said, I know a great sushi place. We went there. We didn't have reservations. We ended up sitting at the bar for an hour waiting for our table. She had 2 drinks and got sick.
She vomited on the dinner table. Or at the dinner table.
Yeah, she got her to the bathroom. She doesn't drink alcohol. So those 2 drinks, and I think on an empty stomach, I think she got really sick.
Very manipulative person, pathological liar. When he was an alcoholic while I was with her, she drank her dinner most nights.
One of the few things that you
Drank
can
it
be
too,
absolutely
most
sure
nights.
about in the Adelson case is that Charlie Adelson is a textbook narcissist.
I met her brother Charlie when I was down there in Miami for Immokalee. You may recall that I said I found him to be a very strange person, very aggressive, verbally. He takes sex tourism trips to South America to have sex with underage prostitutes.
Wait, no, back up a second.
Yeah, he takes sex tourism trips to South America to have sex with underage prostitutes.
Sex tourism?
Yeah, South America. Just
I'm kind of a sheltered guy.
Well, I was shocked not only that he would tell people he did that, but that he would tell his younger sister. That was strange to me. Very odd. And there's this odd dynamic between them. The whole family's real weird. Most people that spend time with them say it's, social workers might say incest in this family, there's violence in this family, something's up with this family. But I mentioned to you that.
Eliminate the problem of Dan Markel.
And by the way, while she's in South Florida, she is completely miserable. She gets depressed, she gets anxious, and she's got her baggage. But even though we didn't have much contact, I never heard her as bad as she was this trip to South Florida. I mean, this blew up her world.
And how do you know she was?
Been a good brother to Wendi?
I always tried to be a good brother.
Dan Markel accused your sister of fraud, right?
He made an accusation, yeah.
Threatened her with federal kidnapping charges?
Oh, that's a new one. You just told me.
That one's in the emails that are in evidence. Did you review those?
I didn't review the federal kidnapping charges in this case.
Was seeking contempt proceedings. You heard about that here in court, yes?
I heard about that, yeah.
Even went after her lawyer personally, right?
He made serious threats against her lawyer.
And her bar card could have been in jeopardy if any of those, or some of them.
I heard the other day she was saying that, I guess her lawyer, he was threatening her lawyer's bar card.
Her lawyer's bar card as well as Wendy's.
He was making lots of threats and writing lots of stuff, I guess.
And he messed with your mom too, didn't he, in that grandma motion? You know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think he was messing with my mom. I mean, nobody took that seriously. I don't think anyone even knew about it.
Is it your mom? I'm sorry, finish.
I said I don't think
No world, and I mean no world, where Charlie Adelson would murder a man for his little sister and not tell her about it.
Correct. Oh, stupid headphones. Wait a bit. Oh, there we go. Back up. I hate the big. Here, buddy. Here, I got you. I got it. I got it. Can you stop walking on the keyboard, you little turd? So, what do you think? Do you think that she's next? And how long do you think it'll be before they come and arrest her? I don't think it'll be. Well, the issue that I see with them taking her to trial is that she does come across as this innocent angel, and she could convince a jury. She could. So they probably need to weigh up whether or not they can put forward a case or not. You reckon 6 months? Well, they got more evidence from her, more impeachment stuff from comparing Charlie's to Donna's trial. Apparently there was 50 memory lapses between the two. There was contradictory statements about family relationships and motivations, timeline inconsistencies, evasive responses when confronted with documented evidence. So the conclusion was Wendi Adelson's testimonies reveal a pattern of inconsistency and evasion that significantly undermines her credibility. The documented contradictions between her statements in different trials, combined with the evidence of family coordination and suspicious timing of events, support the conclusion that she possessed foreknowledge of the murder plot. She also cancelled her cable like the week before. What else did she do? There was a couple of other things. Hang on. Trying to blame everybody else. The relocation, she really, really wanted to move, but he was stopping her from doing that. But then I think she too was playing off her mother and Dan, because as she testified, she had made and agreed to all these things in the parenting plan, but she was telling Donna a completely different thing and riling her up. So I think she's the mastermind behind it all, not Donna. I think she was playing everybody. I think she's just playing the strings of Charlie or playing the strings of Donna, knowing full well that both of them would report back to the other one. Like she played the victim in, my big brother needs to rescue me, damsel in distress card to Charlie, and she'd play, he's harassing me, mum, he's causing me mental health issues, and she'd make a mother worry, who would then ring Charlie, and Charlie is so keen to gain approval from Donna. Yeah, no, I think she's the puppeteer on. I honestly believe she ain't a silly woman at all. Not for a second. So let's get the final results of the poll. Yep, 10 votes are in. 100% believe that she knew all about it. And, Oh, so, all right, this is giving me a few questions to ask. How does Wendi explain the hitman joke? So, in the first trial, at Charlie's trial, she described it as a joke in poor taste. And she said that Charlie joked, I looked into hiring a hitman, it was cheaper to get you this TV. In Donna's trial, she confirmed that Charlie did make that joke about the TV being cheaper than hiring a hitman and admitted mentioning this joke to Jeff Lacoste. What was it? What did Wendi say about the 18-minute phone call she had with Charlie on the morning of the murder? Now, it just so happens that she'd organised the Geek Squad to come out for that 3-hour time period where Dan was murdered to give her an alibi. And she made this massive big deal about the TV being broken to Jeff prior to that, remember? And then made him sit there with the boys and watch this broken TV. Like she's short of money. So in that 18-minute phone call, she said that she was talking about the TV repair costs. Oh, is it worth repairing? Or should I just buy a new one? Really? You ain't that dumb. I could have told you that. So how does Wendi explain encountering the roadblock at the crime scene? In Charlie's trial, she said that she assumed it was weather, that maybe a tree had fallen. You don't put crime scene tape up. And then in Donna's trial, she said she wasn't concerned and was on the phone, and she didn't relate the roadblock to Dan's house or safety. What was Wendy's emotional state regarding Dan at the time of his death? Charlie's trial, she claimed they were parenting really well and doing just fine, getting along great. In Donna's trial, she admitted to calling Dan an STD and an emotional terrorist. And Jeff reported that Wendi said she was stuck here until something happens to Danny. So, how does Wendi explain the timing of various suspicious events? All right, so the Facebook profile picture change. She changed to a glamorous photo the night before, and Lacoste found that strange. Wendy's response was it not addressed. It was never addressed. The name changes. Charlie's child, she claimed it was for children's safety after Nancy Grace showed their faces. The Evite dated was addressed to her and the boys in the Adelson name, and the evidence suggests premeditation, not post-murder safety concern. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we've covered all the rest. What does family communications reveal? Donna's communications. She referred to Wendi as being held hostage in Tallahassee. Okay. She proposed converting the children to Christianity just to piss him off. And we heard that Wendi, when she would Skype the boys, would sit there and eat bacon in front of Dan, who's Jewish. Yeah. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Tricia. Oh, my God. Really? Did you keep any in the bowl? Right. The bowl's empty, but the entire thing around it is just covered. Useless cat. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes open and see what happens with the Wendi situation. Can you remember when Donna's sentencing? Have they given a date yet for that? Now look, see if it's on Mr. Discord on the gavel. As the gavel drops. There we go. Oh, what have we got here? We've got some new documents in the Mickey Steins. We do. Grand jury testimony. Would you like me to read that, Tricia? Well. Well, we can do that tomorrow night, maybe. Let me just open it and see if it is actually what it says it is. Oh, it is. Yes, I have Sheriff Schornstein's grand jury testimony in my hot little hands. You want me to read it? All right. Let's share this instead. Share page. Oh, there. Share. Add to stage. Zoom. See? I kid you not. That's probably a better one. All right. Oh, this. I must have a weird shaped head. None of these headphones like staying on my ears. The thing keeps rolling backwards. I nearly just put my elbow in friggin' cat food. Right. Okay. Detective Stamper. Yes, he's the one that Mickey's attorney was trying to call back for the bond hearing because in this indictment, the grand jury indictment, he says that he believes Mickey was in his right state of mind, and they have officially made their motion that they are going to claim the insanity defense, and that's what they wanted to address at the bond hearing. All right. Detective Stamper is sworn in. Oh, Cherie, she's amazing. She's one of the mods down at as the gavel drops. So they're all so lovely and they're so helpful. All right, so Stamper is a detective with the Kentucky State Police. Prosecutor. I need someone to come up and help me read this. I can't possibly do question and answers. It's 27 pages long. Who can help me? Detective Stamper, how long have you been employed with Kentucky State Police? About 24 and a half years. And Detective Stamper, we are here today on a proposed indictment charging Schornstein's of one count of murder. Please let the grand jury know about the investigation that led to this count. Okay. On Thursday, September 19th at around 3 p.m, my sergeant, Joel Abner, notified me to. I was in Hazard at the time. He told me to head towards the Letcher County Courthouse. It had been reported that Judge Kevin Mullins had been shot in the courthouse. So me, along with the numerous other detectives, headed this way. While I was en route to the courthouse from Hazard, I learned that apparently Judge Mullins had been shot and was deceased because they'd asked a coroner to come to the scene. And I also learned there was one male subject in custody that had allegedly done the shooting. By the time I arrived at the courthouse, numerous other detectives arrived about the same time I did. It was at that time that I realised that the person that was actually in custody was Sheriff Mickey Steins. Sean Mickey Steins, and he was seated in the hallway just inside the front doors of the courthouse. So at that time, myself and other detectives, we were divided up tasks to do, which included conducting interviews, collecting evidence at the scene. I personally, the first thing I done, me and a few other detectives tried to talk to Sheriff Steins to see who's going to give us a statement or whatever about what happened. He refused to do so. I conducted a few more interviews and then I was made aware of some surveillance footage that was in the courthouse, and there was actually a camera that was in Judge Mullins' chambers, and I was able to view this footage. The footage shows Sheriff Steins come in. He comes into the judge's question. And Detective Stamper, before we get into the details of that footage, okay, I know you said that you and some other officers were all en route to the courthouse. Yes. Were you the first officer on the scene? No, I was not. Are you aware of who the first officers were? Well, other than, you mean KSP or general? Law enforcement generally. Well, there was Officer Hunsucker, Clemens, and Whitesburg PD. There were several Letcher County deputy sheriffs who were at the sheriff's office who responded just by simply walking over from their office to the courthouse. Okay, and so geographically, were those law enforcement personnel, were they just closer to the courthouse? Yes, they were closer. Okay, and did you, as part of your investigation, I know you said officers kind of divided up duties. Yes. As part of that investigation, they did. Did officers with Kentucky State Police speak with the Clemens, Hunsucker, and the other officers who were the first on the scene? They did. Okay, and what did they report? Okay, Hunsucker and Clemens with Whitesburg PD reported they had, and there's also a Deputy Borman who I personally interviewed him. He's one of the ones that walked from the sheriff's office to the courthouse. He said he passed Sheriff Steins walking on the street away from the courthouse, and the sheriff had just like a blank look on his face. And Borman tried to get information about what was going on. And he said the sheriff didn't say anything, so he continued on to the courthouse. Officers Hunsucker and Clemens both stated that they had just entered the courthouse, just inside the front door, basically formulating a plan to locate a shooter. And at that point, Sheriff Steins walked in right behind them, and he said basically words to the effect of, "There's nobody else, it was me." He takes his pistol out and he lays it on a table and just to the right of the doorway, just inside the courthouse. He made a statement like, "They're trying to kidnap my wife and kid," or something like that, to one of the officers. So they take him in custody. At that time, he's handcuffed. And then at that point, had they identified the shooter? Yes. So then did those officers go to Judge Mullins' chambers? They did. Okay. And what, based upon their interviews, what did they discover? They discovered Judge Mullins in the floor of his office with numerous gunshot wounds. Was he still wearing his robe at the time? No, he didn't have it on. Did he? No, he didn't have it on. He didn't. He had a suit jacket on. I've watched that video so many times. He didn't have his robes on, did he? You're going to make me want to check that now. Hang on. Because I don't believe he was in his robes at all. Because he reached into his pocket to get his phone. Sheriff Steins. Videos. No, he wasn't in his robes. He's got a jacket and a purple shirt on. Let me click that. Stupid. Stupid. There you go. Oh, I suppose in a bigger picture, maybe the robe, does the robe like fold over the front, maybe? Looks like he's got a jacket on to me, but because I always thought the robes came right up to his. Okay. All right. My bad. Okay. Why does that seem so small? And it won't even let me adjust it. I don't know what's going on with that setting. All right, enough faffing around, Jodie. Get back to the grand jury. All right. And he was there in the Letcher County Courthouse. It was. Okay, now you said that as part of your investigation, you actually recovered some camera footage. Yes. Was the camera located in his... Yeah, okay. You watched the footage in its entirety? Yes. Is there any sound? No. I actually tried to to find some form of AI that could interpret what they were saying. And it sort of did to an extent, but it wasn't really very helpful. So if you know any if you know of any AI that might be able to decipher reading lips when you come across it, that'd be handy. Because that's the triggers right there. It's right in that conversation. Okay, just by reviewing the footage in the courthouse, I can tell you that Sheriff Steins entered the courthouse. He's in the judge's office. There's 4 other people inside the office. He apparently asked those people to leave. 4 other people. It was the preacher. It was the Mr. Isis, is it? And someone else. I've got them written down somewhere. And they were all interviewed? Yes, they were. And what did they say Sheriff Stein said when he walked in? Basically that he asked them to leave, that he needed to talk to the judge. Okay. So did those 4 people leave? Yes. You can actually see them? Yes. So he checks the door that leads into the jury room at one point, and that would be in front of him, which is on camera, and he checks the door that is behind him that would lead to where, like, the court designated work for juveniles is in the courthouse. He checks that door. That is slightly out of the view of the camera. At 2:48, the sheriff starts looking at his own telephone. You can see him holding his hand up, his hand looking at it. At 2:50, he borrows the judge's phone. After that, you can see Stein stand up. He takes his weapon out of his holster and walks over, and he locks the door that goes to the jury room. That's at 2:51. Okay. And is that about where the video that was played at the preliminary hearing picks up? Yes. That snippet, that's correct. And that snippet that was played, are we going to play that for the grand jury today? Yes. All right, just give me one moment. The clip's about 24 seconds. Yes. All right, so obviously play that. Now, with the video up there, there's an individual standing, kind of a grey or tan polo shirt. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay, that was Mickey. Yes. Okay, there's a video picking up after he unholsters his weapon, locks the door. Proceeds to do the act. And he shoots him from 3 different physical locations inside that room. Did Judge Mullins survive the gunshots? No, he did not. What got me was the security guard. Okay, he's heard the gunshots, and you see him walk into camera shot, and he walks sort of straight past the desk, has a glance over at the judge, and continues to walk in. Oh, really? Bugger. You couldn't zoom in on it at all. Yeah, he walks past, glances over, sees the judge behind the desk, continues walking into the next room, and he's gone for about 30 seconds, and then he comes back with his phone in his hand, at his ear, obviously talking to 911, but, like, never once does he go and check to see if he was alive, or it was like he wasn't even surprised. It was just like, oh, yeah, dead judge behind the desk, Like, he didn't at all. And then when Mickey goes outside and you see him walking up and in the car park, you can see that preacher guy who's, who basically ran for his life, didn't try and help anyone in the courthouse at all, just disappeared, pushing people out the way apparently. You see him mulling around in the car park, and he hangs back. He sees Mickey and he's talking to him. He's yelling out something to Mickey as Mickey's walking back to the courthouse to give himself up. And the preacher, Michael Clark, even stands behind a car and is talking to Mickey. Now, apparently just before they went to lunch, he and Mickey had been out delivering food, like they do food parcels of some sort. And that's something that they did, on a regular basis. But it was not ever a regular thing. It was something that, when they got this stuff in, they gave them a call and they both went out and did it. And that just so happened to be right before the shooting. So I wonder if Mickey had said something to the preacher, because the way the preacher was responding after the shooting, and then 2 days later he puts the Facebook message on, saying things like, you're all wrong, and you wait until you hear the real reasons behind it, blah blah blah. Don't know. There's something there though. Definitely something there. Something sus. And have you watched, just out of curiosity, Tracy, have you watched the last 3 videos of Hillbilly Crime? Because I've tried to, and I can't. Is she off her rocker? Like, she is just out there, like really out there. I think she spends 2 hours just talking about nothing. And I'm like, I listened to 10 minutes and I had to turn it off. I had to. I ended up just downloading the transcript because I could not listen anymore. I couldn't. Just the way she was talking, and it's one of the big boys. No. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one then. Yes, the preacher, he was a drug dealer. He was a supplier. He's got 7 felonies. He has the connections. He was supplying the drugs. For sure. You don't get a pardon so that you can go over state lines without even asking for it. Oh, she's just so full on. Yeah. Just the start of this last one. I couldn't. All right. So now apparently it was the daughter that he rang. But the daughter's phone number was not in the judge's phone. Mickey typed it in, and for whatever reason, the daughter answered. Absolutely. Yep, for sure. Yep. Absolutely, 100%. That was his role. For shiz. All right. Detective Stamper, throughout your investigation, have you become aware of some speculation in the community involving Judge Mullins and the daughter of Sean Steins? Yes, Lila. And how old is Lila? 17, I think, or 16. She's in high school. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. She's a juvenile. Okay. And has she been interviewed? She has. Okay. And was she specifically asked about the speculation in the community? She was. And what was her response? She denied any allegations of having any contact whatsoever with the Judge Mullins. Okay. And by contact, what do you mean? By social media, by text, by phone, in person, any kind of contact whatsoever? She denied it. Did she deny any sort of relationship? Any yes, that was all just a rumor. Okay. Did you also ask the wife of Sean Steins, is her name Caroline Steins? Her name is Caroline. Yes, she was asked the same questions. There were also rumors about her having some kind of relationship with Judge Mullins, and she denied those allegations. Was she specifically asked about whether or not she had any knowledge of her daughter Lila and Judge Mullins having any sort of relationship? Yes. And what was her response to that? That was not true. Okay. Now, as part of your investigation, did you become aware of Lila's phone number? I did. Did you also obtain and examine Judge Mullins' cell phone? I did. Did you also obtain and Judge Mullins' phone records for that cell phone? Yes. Based upon your review of those records thus far, the phones thus far, does there appear to be any communication between Judge Mullins' phone and Lila's phone? None whatsoever. There was a call between the two of those numbers on September 19th of 2024 between Lila's number and Judge Mullins' number on the day of the shooting. There was. Okay, and based upon your investigation, were you able to determine the source of that call? Yes, Sheriff Steins used Judge Mullins' phone while he's sitting in the chair in front of Judge Mullins' desk to call his own daughter. Mickey used the judge's phone to call Lila. And outside of that phone call, have you discovered any other calls between Lila's phone and Judge Mullins' phone? No. Oh, my skin's starting. And are you familiar with Sean's date of birth? November 30th. Oh, he's a Saggy. Okay, familiar with Sean Stein's social security number? Yeah, we don't need to see that. Was her phone number stored in the judge's phone? It was not. Okay. Is there any way to retrieve any of it if it's been deleted off the phone? There are, yes. Female juror. What about social media like Snapchat or one of those other types? Yeah, there's no evidence. Is that traceable? Yes. With the comment you made earlier that one of the deputies said they were trying to steal the family. Yes. What was the cause of that? And I guess so in those interviews with Lila and Caroline Steins, yes, did they disclose that there had been any concerns for their own personal safety? Well, they may not have known that it was that what? Diane Downs TV Showdown with the Sheriff, the sequel. David Burks and Diane Downs go on tape again. The hell? That's just popped up on my. Okay. Yeah, but there was an attorney, a high up attorney, and I've got it written down somewhere, that sat in on this deposition. No, sorry, sat in on the deposition that he gave in the Ben Fields case. But he wasn't there as like representing Mickey. He was just there. And apparently he was there to make sure that Mickey didn't say anything. And then on the way back from that deposition, he pretty much was when he threatened his wife and daughter, allegedly. So the wife and daughter may not have known that there was even any issues. Mickey might have not told them to protect them. So. Was there an active warrant, I guess? Had they contacted the Sheriff, Lila or Karen, about any sort of EPA or protective order? Were they fearful of Mr. Steins? No, they were not. Footage throughout the courthouse. As you followed him through the courthouse, what's his demeanour on the footage? I don't really know Mickey that well, but I mean, you can see him. He walks straight when he comes in the courthouse that day. He walks through the front door. He walks back past the elevator, goes in, blah, blah, blah. Well, was he in a hurry, stressed or anything? No, he just casually walks in and pretty much casually walks out. Is there cameras that show him outside the courthouse? There are. It's from a distance, but you can see when Mickey exits the courthouse. And is he known in the community as Mickey Steins? He's known as Mickey Steins. Walks out the front door, walks left and starts walking up the street like he's walking to the sheriff's office. Now, where people were right on top of the courthouse when this happened, that's already, by the time he makes it outside the courthouse, there's already law enforcement response to the shooting. So he walks past these officers that are responding to the shooting. That's when I spoke with one of those myself. They've all been interviewed, but that's when Borman, I think that's his last name, said they seen Mickey walking away from the courthouse and they're like, hey, what's up? Where's the shooter at? And he don't say nothing. He just keeps on walking. But you can also see that, like I said, it's from a distance. At some point, Sheriff Steins turns around and he walks back towards the courthouse. He walks back in the front door, and you can see on the other cameras at that point, if you switch from the outside view to the inside view, you can see Mickey come in and surrender to law enforcement. Once again, there's no audio, it's just video. With the interviews, whether it be you or anyone else that done interviews, were those people that worked with him asked about any type of strange behaviour weeks prior, days prior? Yes. Was anything asked of that nature? There were. And the common answer to that was Mickey was not acting like himself. And what time frame? Did they give a time frame of how long that had been going on? I think particularly it was like a week and a half to 2 weeks leading up to the shooting. And no one had even stated that strange behaviour was not reported to anybody. were there any formal requests through the legal systems to get him any sort of assistance or anything like that? No. I understand that both phone records have been obtained. Were there any increases in communication? I know it's common for a sheriff and a judge maybe communicate, but was there any increase or strange messages that just didn't add up between phones or any communication there? No, not really. I know they had communicated the night before, but that seems to be a work matter that's not related to what happened. You stated that you and several others had tried to talk to Mickey that day. We did. Have any of you all tried to talk to him since then? No. He's not been interviewed since that day. No, he didn't want to talk. Even though people said that he'd not been acting himself, did they show any real concern about his behaviour, or did they just thought, he's not been himself lately? No, his family was concerned. Some ladies that work in the sheriff's office were concerned that he wasn't acting like himself. Did they say specifically why they thought he wasn't himself? There is an active lawsuit against the sheriff's office that was ongoing. That seemed to be the nature of his issues, based on what the people told us. At our previous meeting, I know you requested medical records. Did that open up anything, or have you had a chance just to review a snippet of medical records? I have. And are those medical records from Dr. McDougall's office? They are. They change your investigation in any way? No, they did not. Did he document any time of hallucinations or psychosis? I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Did he document any type of hallucination, psychosis, depression, any mental health issues? No verbal response. And Detective Stamper, I'm handing you the medical records returned. Would that be them? It is. And are there comments from Dr. McDougall? There are. Here today. Would you like to read that document for the grand jurors? Yeah, it says, patient sees me for the first time today since December 23. He's accompanied by his friends who are concerned about his level of stress and loss of sleep. The patient was very subdued but denied any depression, anxiety, psychosis, suicidal or homicidal thoughts. Lie, pants on fire. Although he did not weigh in check-in today. He states he's almost lost 40 pounds intentionally over the past several months, and his stress levels related to his work have contributed to his weight loss as well. He denied any problems at home. He stated they just needed his blood work and some medication refilled. I was happy to see his blood pressure was good today, and these medical records for September 18th, they are. Is there a list of medications that he was taking? No verbal response. Are you personally familiar, or have you reviewed specifically what medications he was taking at the time of this treatment? No. Okay. Are they available in these medical records if the grand jurors would like to review them? Yes. Okay. I have another question. So you said ongoing lawsuits against the sheriff's office. Yes. Did Judge Mullins have any relation to that case in any way? No, not that it would matter. Not involved. Really? To your knowledge, was Judge Mullins involved? No, not to my knowledge. So Dr. McDougall said pretty much there's no mental health issues, but was there any major physical health issues that he was struggling with that might have affected his mental health? Not that I'm aware of. And you stated that when he came in to talk to the officers that he said they are trying to take my wife and daughter. Yes. Did he refer to who they were? No, he wasn't referring as in him as Judge Mullins. It was they as in more than. I don't know without speculating who he was talking about. And I know you said you didn't, and you don't know if anybody did, so there's no interview with Mickey stating a motive for why he did what he did. No, he had an opportunity to talk to us, but he refused to. What about the previous luncheon? Was Mr. Steins part of that lunch? He was. Did you interview the people who were at that luncheon? Yes. They've all been interviewed and none of them. There was no conflict. No, there was nothing. Do you have a timeline of his activity between the lunch and the time of the incident? Yes. I know he had done a food delivery with somebody that was a preacher man after lunch, and before he was with Michael Watts, I think his name is. They took some food. Oh no, that was Michael Clark. I think his name is. They took some food to someone in the community, and Mr. Clark has been interviewed, and he didn't notice anything peculiar. So he was in a sane mind as far as the investigation has gone. Yes. All right. That's what they're arguing, that bit right there. Because how can this deputy, he's not a psychologist, psychiatrist, how can he make that statement? He's not qualified. Prosecutor, any other questions? No verbal response. And so, Detective Stamper, are you here today seeking an indictment on one count of murder, specifically that on or about the 19th day of September, Dutch County, Kentucky, the above-named defendant being Sean Steins committed the offence of murder? Yes. Any other questions? All right. End of testimony. Well, that was a big nothing burger. Sorry. Yep. Never mind. There was 2 other documents there. I'll have a look at them and report back if there is anything of value. Cool. All right. These things are falling off my head again.